Good morning. This is Gifty Etc. at giftyetc.blogspot.com. Today we're going to talk about doing a monthly review of your planner. Now, we've already talked about doing daily reviews and weekly reviews, and just like when we did those, you can find an overview of this presentation on giftyetc.blogspot.com, where you can follow it in a written format. So let's talk about what we do at the end of every month. If you open up your planner to the last day of the month, and I'll just use my today marker to go to the last day of the month, which is October 31st, happens to be tomorrow, you're going to need to do things that you do every month. One of the things I do is pay my kids' cafeteria fees and see that that's circled so that I remember to recopy it to the next month when I do it. One thing I do is pay my mortgage. The other thing I do is a monthly review. And that monthly review is what we're working on right now. One of the things you want to do in my second step, after checking that all this month's task here and task at the end of the month on the monthly task list are all complete, and they are, let me find the October task list, the end of the month tasks are all complete. I next review the upcoming month, and by review it, I mean simply look at it. Actually open up to that monthly page and look at what's going on for you in that month. The last week of that month, my children are off for school. I'm going to have guests at my house. It's going to be a pretty busy month, and you can see that most days are filled with items. Take a couple minutes just to put this in your brain. You don't need to remember it because you'll have your planner with you. But you need to look it over and have an idea of how busy your month's going to be. If you spot a birthday party that's coming up, go ahead and write, get gifts, and wrap gifts on your list, on your task list if you haven't done so. That kind of stuff is really, really important. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is remove planner pages from 2 months ago. See, I've already removed the September planner page in looking for November to start. Let me grab for you the planner pages that I've removed from this planner, and you'll see September is at the very bottom. Here's the September page, and I simply put them inside of a rubber band or binder clip and keep them with my planners, and that way I still have that information archived if I should need it. You're also going to add a month of planner pages to your calendar section. In my case, I actually add 5 months. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's the middle of the school year. I don't like to carry this much stuff, but when we go from one semester to another in the school year, we tend to have a lot of notices, especially in my work for the Home and School Volunteer Association. And so I do keep a few more months during the school year, usually up to 5 at one time. But during the summer, I'll only keep 3 months, and that seems to work pretty well for me. Add anything to from your future page, and you'll see I have future marked right here. And here's my tabs. And when I open it up, and I just made these tabs myself by cutting them out of cardstock and pasting them together and labeling them. But I'll take anything from March from my future page and add it to that March month that I just added to my planner. Next, I make a budget for the month, and I haven't done this yet for November, so I'll show you October's. It's simply an envelope that I hole punch to keep any important receipts in. I only keep receipts that really are important to me. Receipts for things that are either expensive or gifts or something that I'm likely to return if there's a problem. I don't keep gas receipts, for example. I don't keep receipts from the restaurant where I ate. I just write down the numbers and I subtract them from our budget for the month. And this budget of about $2,000 is our money for food, clothing, any items that don't have a regular bill. And so things that have a regular bill like electricity, we've already budgeted in a spreadsheet, and I don't worry about keeping track of that because electricity bill is what it is. But for these flexible spending items, I go ahead and keep track of it and try to stay under the budget for the month. Tomorrow's the last day of the month, and so far we have $148 left, which means we will have spent $148 less than we took in this year, and that amount can go towards debt. The next thing that you want to do is to go over your project list. Now, you've probably been reviewing, if you follow my procedures for project lists, and if you've seen my notes about how to make a project list, you've probably been reviewing your projects weekly. Continue to do that, but you'll see that this very first project, NaNoWriMo, and I'm not sure how well you can see that, but the very first project is due at the end of the month. I am going to write a novel. And so in order to do that, I need to review my project list, see what's due this month. It's sort of the same theory as looking over your calendar for the month. It just puts it in your brain. I'm convinced that when we have children, they're like little zombies that eat our brains from our tummies. So please be sure to spend a little extra time looking at this stuff if you do have children. It's going to really help. Next, you want to go over your notes in your file section to see if it's up to date. And you can see I have another one of those pretty dividers that I just made from cardstock. And here's my notes and file section. The only time I ever review this is during my monthly review. That is it. So what I'm looking for is anything that's no longer useful to me. If you were in a club and kept the notes here from your meetings and you're no longer in that club. If you had a list of babysitters but your children are now old enough not to have sitters. Anything that you no longer need to carry around with you should go ahead and go in your files at home. This is also a good time to go ahead and file anything that hasn't been put in your files at home for this month so that you don't have a backlog that's just crazy. So go ahead and do that once a month. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to that little reminder we had that was circled of a monthly review. Scratch it out and write it on the last day of November or whatever the next month is. Circle it so that you remember to repeat it every month. I actually make a document of the things that I need to keep track of, and it's in my weekly review section. And I just made a little document, you can see it right here, of the things that I need to do every month on my monthly review. And I just know that it's in my weekly review section, but you of course can make in your files a monthly review section if you'd like. Really helps me to keep track of these 10 things that I do every month. It's also listed on giftyetc blogspot.com if you want to go look, and at the October 30th entry for 2013, you can see that list right there, and go ahead and put it in your planner. Change it. Make it work for you. Make it work for your planner. It's very important that you don't just take other people's tips, but you make them work for you, or you discard them if they don't work for you. The final thing I do is set any goals for the month, and this month, because I'm going to be writing a novel, and that's kind of unique to November, I have set goals for that novel, and it's National Novel Writing Month in November. And here is my goal page, and that's my word count that I'm going to have every day, how many words I'm going to write. And this is just a place for me to keep track of that. So I've done this once before, a 50,000 word novel. I haven't edited it or tried to get it published yet, but I expect to meet that goal again this year, and I've already outlined my ideas for that novel. That's it. If you've been writing things down as they occur, the whole process takes under 10 minutes. Have fun with your planner. Happy planning. And please visit giftyetc blogspot.com for more planning tips.